Listen, all this time is chill. We don't have many high-octane, epic, absolutely cinema shows, right? Yeah, we fucking don't, they suck. I've watched 16 anime and about 6 episodes of each, kinda, so I gotta get to rating that. But before that, if you like the video and, you know, blah 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 blah, subscribe, like, whatever. The video took so long to make, Danny came back. I didn't really expect this. Begin! Imagine having to wait 6 years for a sequel only to get this.
I can't believe you've done this.
Anyway, I don't understand how supposedly Bandai fucked up a money printing machine so much. Are they fucking blind? Seriously now. This is horrendously bad. I don't like to shit on something for no reason, but there's plenty of reason to shit on it now. It just screams mismanagement. The backlash is deserved. Some people want you to believe it's just the West. It is not. Japan also dislikes it. Let's actually get to rating. Writing. I originally had something more positive written here, but I realized I was quite wrong. One Punch Man's biggest plus factor in terms of writing is its premise combined with decent comedy. The story itself is not very complex, nor is it too simple and uninteresting. This season's direction has really destroyed what good it had. Because of the presentation, scenes don't have the same impact. Comedy scenes are way too drawn out, and the dialogue and delivery that is supposed to build the characters suck. It's a combination of everything else about this season that has destroyed any chance for the writing to be decent. I cannot give it anything more than a 5, and that's out of consideration for the basis it had laid in front of it. The soundtrack itself is not trash. The soundtrack itself is not trash. The animation is. And the two go hand in hand. You can't put metal on a singular frame and expect that shit to be hard. I'm giving it a 6. Animation is quite shit, especially shit in fact. Low budget shows, the basic ones you see only a few people watch per season, maybe they get like 70k people that watched it on Mal. Those shows have better animation than this. The animation structure is all over the place, tiny movements are animated, and some of them look too good for the show to overall be so bad at animation. Not even the fight scenes look good. It has been brought to my attention that recently episode 8 did actually look decent, not actually perfect. It's like a 7 out of 10 of what it should have been. But still, mainly, the animation is not that good. I believe they thought they could hide the glaringly bad animation by using the stills as a scapegoat, cause I'm gonna be honest, they were pretty good and did make me look past the lack of movement for a second. One issue I pinpointed that absolutely destroyed my overall look on the animation is that they have these zooming shots, right? They are used to put more emphasis on the character talking. There's way too many of them. And the camera work or composition of the shot is dog shit. Because if there is panning, that is all of the movement in the scene. And the lip flaps sometimes. Those shots, somehow, even though the stills are great, look worse than the average anime. Maybe it's the different art style. Maybe the fact that some shots have elements like backgrounds that should be moving, as per the last 40 years of animation, and they aren't moving. I don't know. There's also overuse of those speed lines and misalignment issues for character and background movement, and of course a chronic lack of frames. Call it one frame man. But aside of that, it's watchable. 3.5. Kill it with fire. Now we get to the actually good part, the stills. They're amazing, I love them. I can tell that a lot of care has been put into them. The character details, the backgrounds, and everything looks good. Too good. But why are some characters fucked up, and why all the filters? If I wanted to see blue characters, I'd watch the Smurfs, but that apparently didn't do good either. I think we found the problem. The accentuation of outlines is obvious, and I think looks good, unless they go overboard and add thick stylized outlines to all the muscles of a character, making it so you can't make sense of the shading and depth. The perspective of some shots of characters is fucked when placed in the scene as a whole. Also look here, the proportions are fucked sometimes. That guy's head is tiny. I'd say an 8, about there. Uniqueness, be it the premise or the fall of the series had, pretty unique in it. 8. That makes the total of 5.47, an absolute ass of a season. Hopefully the next doesn't exist. Just read the manga please. Oh, by the way, I'm giving it a 5. I don't like it in general. It's only good when Tatsumaki is on the screen. All in all, I pray this doesn't happen to the next season of Mushoku Tensei, since it's also at that 3rd season step, and the quality did go down after the 1st season. It's kinda lining up to be the same, though it's not under Bandai, so it should be safe. Now let me explain what all that meant. Writing refers to story, pacing, direction, and anything that can fit under that general umbrella. Soundtrack is self-explanatory. Animation is movement and motion. Stills are the quality of individual frames, and uniqueness is how much a show stands out. The formula used for the total score is the following. It's not just an average of the scores I give, because stills and uniqueness should be less important. Like and subscribe if you like the videos, and let's continue. Up. Ban should also be here, but I made a dedicated video on it. If you wanna check it out, go ahead. Now, continue with the thing. It ain't always that you see an isekai with an interesting premise. Hey, keep your eyes up here. Hey, no! Long story short, this guy who played the, maybe, antagonist in an MMO, after his character is killed, is transported into the game 200 years in the future, in the body of his character, revived. He or she will now learn what happened in these years, find their companions, and maybe fight the demons who have taken over. For the record, if I was in his place, I would not refrain from engaging in a calm and relaxing bath with my assistant. Also, what's wrong with her? This Aqua wannabe has a weird combination of stupid and devil vibes. Writing. Pretty nice, I like the world building, the characters are also pretty good, flow of events isn't rushed. Quite surprising for it to be this good. I was expecting it to copy Overlord, but it doesn't go in that direction. There's still this mystery factor regarding what happened to the world, and it's not looked over like in other anime. You know there's something amiss. 8.5. Soundtrack. Good, albeit a bit exaggerated. Deserves an 8. Animation manages both action and non-action scenes well. You have the movement where needed and is dialed down when in dialogue-intensive scenes. Fights look good with fluid and flashy effects. That flying robomaid is still funny to me. It's not the best CG, but it's not bad. It adds to the comedic effect, if that's what they wanted. 8.5. Stills. I love that good stills have become so common. 7 out of 10 anime are appealing to look at, and this is one of the good ones. It's got all the bells and whistles of good stills, even maintaining them during animation. 9. Uniqueness. Besides isekai, overpoweredness, and final boss vibes, it's decently unique. 7.5. Total comes to 8.32. This surprised me too, I wasn't expecting it to be that high. For me it gets a 9.5, I really enjoyed this one. I cannot believe how cute a show with this style can be. Little Miss Vampire Can Suck Right is about this cute little thing who is a mighty and noble vampire, admired by everyone. I'll be honest, I don't see how Luna is that popular. She acts like a bitchy vampire and doesn't look— oh my god! She likes to eat snacks and doesn't know how to suck blood out of people. She can only satisfy her hunger through blood, so I don't understand how she didn't starve to death by the time she met Otori, who is now her mobile blood machine. She could have gotten blood from other places, but why does she now exclusively use him? The two and some others develop a very cute relationship that is centered around her learning how to suck blood. Perhaps that might develop even further. Writing. Decent, nothing especially wrong besides the thing I pointed out prior. You're probably not here for the most minutely created plot points, you're here for the cute stuff, which this does exceptionally well. 9. The soundtrack is very cute and pairs with the visuals nicely. I love the vibes it creates. 9. Animation, pretty good for a show of its size. 7. Stills are lovely whenever Luna is on screen, the rest of the times they're mid. Character design is boring, but that might just be what they're going for, showcasing that the monsters or the humanoid beings with different characteristic traits are outstanding. You know, it's not that uncommon in this world to have monsters, so they might just be trying to show that normal people are not very interesting. The male MC doesn't have a mouth half the time, for God's sake. Aside of this, the mix of chibi cuteness and normal cuteness doesn't take away any of the quality. 6.5. Uniqueness, just because of the execution I'm thinking of giving it an 8. Total is 8.12, and from me it gets a 9. I love how cute it is. Here comes the generic isekai. Who watches this? Besides the obvious answer being me, it seems like a bunch of you are also watching this. For some reason this is in the top 10 this season on Mal at the time of writing it. So what's that about? The title is already a summary, so I don't have to do it myself. Let's read it. My gift level 9999 unlimited gacha. Backstabbed in a backwater dungeon, I'm out for revenge. Writing. If you've seen any power fantasies, you know exactly what you're dealing with. The characters are very plain and have no depth. Their purpose in life is to be around the main character, blown his dick, Bailey. Their existence is irrelevant. They serve zero purpose. They should be rewritten now by someone who actually cares about making something good. Cause what are they here for? To please some self-insert? Rewrite them. I mean that with 100%, with 1000%. Ahem. It has an ambiguous order of events, I can't even tell when something is happening. The first episode is setup, second is filler, that I would say was kinda needed, kind of a big jump between episode 1 and 3. And on episode 4 you don't know how much time has passed after episode 3, or if what's happening now happened after or before episode 3 in the timeline. Power systems are not really explained, the world is also unknown, it just lets the author do whatever he wants, and I don't like that. At least we should be getting a proper revenge story this time, so there's that. If you're here to have fun, you can look over a bunch of things. Unfortunately, I cannot. The comic bits are good though, for an anime. 4.5. Soundtrack. Basic, but not bad. 7. Animation. The animation is pretty good, which is unexpected. There's a fair bit of movement even outside fight scenes, and the CG animation is also not bad. 7.5. still seem to take inspiration from Danmachi. That's literally the first thing I thought of when seeing the cover. Danmachi's stills are pretty good, but on here we have less detail and even a bit less shading. The quality also varies from episode to episode. For example, episode 4 had worse stills than episode 6, which to be fair looked quite fucking good. I'm giving it a 7 for the badly messed CG and inconsistency. Uniqueness 6. Total is 6.37, and I'm giving it a 5.5 for now. It might grow in the future depending on how the show develops, but I won't get my hopes up. Get ready for a quick one, because this one is not worth talking about. I know you're only watching this because it's ecchi.
Same as us. And that thief over there.
You didn't even read the plot, did you? This one's about this rando who's got some magic healing hands, cause they can make a girl climax and fix her back pain at the same time. Maybe I should pick up massaging. He becomes the caretaker of some prodigies in sports. Of course, all girls with humongous bazongas. To make something clear, this is less like the Mikadono Sisters show and more like the other dorm caretaker ecchi, but I'd say it's worse than that. Writing. There's nothing good about it. Typical ecchi, tropey characters, tropey encounters, you've seen it before, it's bad, 4 out of 10. The soundtrack, basic and lacking character, with weird choices at times. Yeah, I'm not feeling it. 6. Animation. As good if not better than One Punch Man, if we ignore the fight scenes. This however is a different category, so it's getting a 6. Stills. Last season, that one Machina show had a huge portion of its score riding on the stills. This one does not deserve any praise in that regard. The character design is bad, there is very little detail, and it just looks like a hentai. 5. Uniqueness. I've seen at least 2 other anime with the same premise, and this doesn't do anything very unique. 5. The total is somehow worse than One Punch Man at 5.27. Ecchi surprises me again with how bad it can be. I'm giving it a 3. This one is a bit strange. Why are we in an alternate setting Japan where the birth rate is unbelievably low and... you know, that might just be Japan in a couple of years actually. But why are children like a gift of God? Why are they the most important existence? Why does Sanda not exist? Why aren't children allowed to sleep? Why are they all in this school? What's with this obsession with children? The answer to that lies somewhere in this series, I hope, maybe, if we ever get to that point. This boy, inconspicuously named Sanda, turns out to be from the clan of Sandas, and he helps this girl uncover the mystery of why her totally not girlfriend disappeared. There's also a freaky principal and people that want to kill Sanda for some reason, but that's unrelated. Writing. It's just weird. I can't tell if it's a bunch of things thrown together for the sake of making the series deeper, or we're actually trying to have something coherent here. This is a shonen, but it doesn't have a power system. It has a world that is supposed to be very similar to ours, but it's also not. Everything is the way you would believe it is until something happens and our kids go through puberty while they sleep. There's not enough information and I can't take it seriously. The characters are also unlike anything else up to a point. They don't follow tropes and are generally decent, but they have weird motives. This girl is the best character, by the way. The writing is, in short, a mixed bag. 6.5. Soundtrack, is pretty good, it goes hard when it needs to. It is atmospheric and quite unique. I'm giving it an 8.5. Animation, from small movements to fight scenes, it won't let you down. 10. Stills, unique. Take that whichever way you want. I'm not saying they're bad, they take the main trait of the show, and that is weirdness. But looking past the stylistic choices, they are good and consistent. You just have to get adjusted to them. 9. Uniqueness, I believe I've already said enough. 10. Total is 8.57, and I'm giving it a 7. I'm not sold on it yet. I'm waiting to see how much bullshit the writer is gonna take out of his ass. Sorry, her ass. Adult Romance, the needle in the hay bale of anime romance. A rare specimen right now in front of you. Is it good? The premise. This woman, Azusa, is bad at communicating but amazing at doing her job. This guy, Yu, not you, but Yu, starts working at the same place and Azusa is placed in charge of him to show him the ropes. Yu, again not you, understands her peculiarity and the two start to get along. Writing. It's okay. I mean, for a romance it is decent, as it strays from the typical romance structure and dynamics. It's similar to Wotakoi or My Senpai is Annoying. The progression is slow but even, the characters aren't the greatest, but they sure have big personalities, and the events have a realistic tone, though somehow they're still similar to the ones from high school romances. I'm giving it a 6. The soundtrack is typical for romances, nothing out of the ordinary here. 6. The animation is mid, it's kinda stiff and lacking frames, and the close analysis is not good. You might not notice that it's bad if you're only here for the vibes, so I'll give it a 6 too. Stills. Anything that has Azusa as a centerpiece is good, the rest is passable. The shading is minimal, the backgrounds look lifeless. I would like to believe it's because of the setting and, you know, job application. Overall, maybe below average, 5.5. Uniqueness, In the romance genre, adult romances are not common, but that does not mean they don't exist. This mixes the common adult romance traits with a few classic romance bits. Not in the best way. 7. Total is 6.05, and I'm giving it a 7. A surprise to be sure, but a welcome one. How often do you see a non-established isekai come out and do well? I'll tell you, about twice or thrice a season, it's not that uncommon. But does this one live up to that? This time we have a class of high schoolers being summoned to another world, they're given classes and stuff, and say it with me, Akira's status as an assassin obviously exceeds the hero's. Trademark. Our protagonist realizes there's something wrong with the king and their circumstances and distances himself from their reach. The class was summoned here under the pretense of fighting the demons, but is that really true? He probes around, the king kills his guardian and blames him, he runs away and finds an elf girl that likes him. Unique, right? Writing-wise, it had something going for it in the beginning, there was tension and mystery. A serious plot was brewing and then it kinda went downhill after he found the poster girl. The pacing turned to shit, we started getting more unrealistic turns of events, new characters introduced became plot devices, not to say that the previously introduced ones had something good going, it seems more like it's the adaptation's fault and not the original works. In short, it fell off. 6.5. The soundtrack sounds nice and pairs well with the visuals. 8. Animation is not amazing or anything, but it is pleasing, better than what you'd expect from a show of its caliber by quite a bit. Soundrise may have fallen off too, but they're still Soundrise. 8. Stills are great, both the backgrounds and the forefront stuff. The art style is reminiscent of old anime, which might have to do with Soundrise, cause I haven't exactly investigated, but the light novel and manga don't have the same look. I think. The cool thing about the stills is that there's multi-layer shadows. Usually, you know, there's only one darker part of the faces and such. Here you have some spots that are darker than that, and there's also lit spots. I really like that. 9. Uniqueness. Through the execution it seems unique, but as a base it's pretty classic isekai. 6.5. The total score is 7.55. I am a fan of isekai and I like what this one has going for it, so I'll give it an 8 as my personal enjoyment score. Give it up for my mans. He's allowed to touch other girls now. Too bad he's a pussy. This one gets started immediately, like it just continues from where we left off last season. I'm not gonna bore you with a summary of this since it's the second season and all, but I'll just do it for the sake of it. This guy needs a harem of girls with certain rings to defeat the big bad that is attacking the world from where the girls are. He gets more powerful by deepening his bond with the characters, but he fucking doesn't. What the fuck is wrong with him? I mean, kudos to him for being loyal, but you have a world to save? Hello? Writing. If you've seen the last season, it doesn't get much better, just a tiny bit. The flow of events doesn't seem as rushed, more things are explained, and since things have calmed down, we have more detailed interactions between characters. The issue of glossing over world building remains, maybe not to the same level. I also like the comedic moments, they're pretty good. 7.5. Soundtrack. I actually like it, it has a bit of flair and it's used nice. I'm saying it's a 8.5. For animation, I'm giving it a 2, One Punch Man's out of something, maybe even more than that. While not particularly amazing, it doesn't subtract for the enjoyment of the show. Dare I say it's a bit better than the average, at least better than a lot of isekais. The importance of fight sequences dwindles as character-to-character moments take the lead, it's like a 7. Stills look beautiful. Not only do the characters look good, there's a lot of detail, the shading is good, probably the best color grading I've seen in a while. Even the VFX look great, if a slight bit out of place. I don't have many qualms about them, just the usual slight change in proportions from shot to shot. 9.5. Uniqueness. It is a bit unique, but it's also got typical anime issues. 6.5. Total is 7.68, and I think it gets an 8.5 from me. The writing is what brought it down for me the most. This was supposed to be the romance this season, but it really ain't it. It's a basic romance type of shit you can't really go wrong with. It did go wrong. The ideas are there, but the execution is not good. Aki here is the leader of a tiny group of people who made an amazing game, and for some reason, he wants to get a job at this guy's game company. Too bad there are conditions. One of the conditions is him not having a girlfriend, the usual. It's not like his friend's sister that obviously has a thing for him, likes him, no? Yeah, well, shit happens, he's oblivious, the teacher likes little boys, the sister is an ass, and this girl that hates him starts to like him. I'm not even gonna bother following my structure here, I'm just gonna spit some shit. The writing sucks, the story is not good, the flow of events is bad, the direction is also bad, comedic moments are not funny at all, and there's a lot of emphasis put on them. It's not very visually pleasing, not only talking about animation and stills quality, something about its style of going about presenting the scenes lacks impact and looks cheap. The animation in general is average, the stills look good isolated, but put together not so much, boys have less detail than the girls and they look bland, the backgrounds have a weird haze and texture applied to them, the soundtrack is sometimes there if you notice it, so it goes like this. Writing 4, Soundtrack 5.5, animation 6.5, stills 6, uniqueness 6. All in all is the same as One Punch Man at 5.47, totally not rigged by the way. My personal score is 4. Genuinely, the only thing that interests me in this show is the dynamic between Aki and Iroha, the sister. If they only focused on that, it had the chance at being good. Never expected to see Scatman in an anime. Oh, you don't know the Scatman.
I'm a scat man.
He's the Scatman. This is not a porn joke. This show met my expectations. They weren't high, mind you. It is about a girl who likes to dance and a sort of shy guy who has trouble speaking. Wanting to get over his condition, Kawo picks up dancing as a form of expressing himself with the help of Wanda. It has a decent idea, but a presentation isn't backing it up. Those dances don't look too good. I read a teeny tiny bit of the manga and it had seemingly more passion put into it. Visually, it just had more emotion. I know I shouldn't compare the manga to the anime visually, cause you can't put that much work into a singular frame for the anime, but what we got is just lifeless. Yes, it's time to rate writing. Dancing is the main focus, it's not just something sprinkled on top. This isn't just a romance or slice of life with a unique thing thrown at it. I believe it's got more one dance than Bocchi the Rock has rock. The characters are decent and the plot isn't very forced, it's just a tad bit unrealistic. I'm giving it a 7.5. Animation. Dancing is the most prominent form of animation, not that it appears the most, it is just what you care for the most. It's awkward in the beginning, but it gets better with time. The switch to dancing is sometimes out of the blue, you know, like the transition from 2D to 3D, and as I said, it's like an emotion. The characters themselves also don't show any emotion. I'm not an expert in dancing, so I might be bullshitting, but the choreographies also don't look that good. I don't believe it's a budget problem, it's probably a skill issue. The 2D animation is good, better than One Punch Man, that's for sure. I like the fluidity of movement. 6, and it's being dragged down by CG. Soundtrack. I know it's just for dances, I know, but pop does not fit into anime. I get it's part of the scene, I'm just cringing at it. Might be because it reminds me of bad AMVs or edits. There is really not a lot of normal tracks though. Skimming through episodes I could only find 1 or 2 and it did need more than that. So the lack of basic soundtrack and misfit of pop is what is making me give it a 5. Stills. Unique art style, if you don't like it, that's on you. I, truth be told, am not a fan. I dislike the facial design and the verticality, but not as much. There's a chronic lack of characteristic detail that the manga had. The colors were not well chosen, and the shading is bad. Each character's details might have been lowered to make the 3D models less complicated. I'm not saying they're excused, I'm just throwing that out there. Saving grace is the backgrounds, which are not terrible. Nothing else of note to add here, they're just a little quirky. Don't be misled by the first episode, they won't always look that good. 6.5. Uniqueness, not an unprecedented structure, so I'm saying 9. Total comes to 6.48. I'm personally not interested in the premise, much less the visuals, so I'm giving it a 4. I had never heard of the game this anime is based on until I saw the anime on AniList, and honestly, it doesn't look that interesting. To me, it's not BL or made only for women, but there's mostly men in it. But that's besides the point, it seems like it's more so based on the manga. The protagonist is transported into a fantasy world. Of course he is! This world has some Disney lore if you're interested in that. I'm not a Disney guy, so I don't know much about that. Anyway, he's forcefully enrolled at a magic school even though he has no magic, but he gets like a pet that can spit fire, so I guess that's fine. Big point, he wants to return home, but who knows if he actually makes progress towards that. Writing is okay, it's got a decent execution, but the comedic timing is off. I don't know how good it is as an adaptation, but from an outsider's perspective it's not bad. The plot progression is pretty slow though. 6.5. Soundtrack is not something impressive, it's right about average. 6. The animation is plenty good, ignoring the fact that it's Disney branded, I would not have expected it to look so good. It's fluid when paired with the stills and it's a treat for the eyes. 7.5. Stills. Look at them and decide if you like them. I'd say they're beautiful, but the colors of characters are a mismatch with the backgrounds. 7.5. Uniqueness, 9. Total score is 6.98, and I'm giving it a 6. This is pretty much a Kyoto Annie show that they didn't get to do. It's kinda just Hyoka, but less deep. Chitose is your cheeky protagonist that can do anything if he wants, but he doesn't, and people don't like him. Why, you ask? Well, because he has a group of friends with a bunch of girls that form his harem. All of them like him. Seems like the plot is going to revolve around him helping other people while managing his love life. I like the vibes he's pushing and the fact that it's not like literally everything else. Writing. Not perfect, the flow of events is unrealistic, the dialogue is a bit weird and it might just be taking itself too seriously, but the main cast is refreshing, not the tropey bunch all harems have. And there's also other boys, who would've thought. 8. Soundtrack, cool, atmospheric, but nothing too special. 7. Animation. Can't say it's bad, you've got movement where you need it, not much where you don't. Could have had more, but it is what it is. 6.5. Stills are decent, the backgrounds look nice, they fit in with the identity of the show, but the characters lack uniqueness, they look boring. 6. Uniqueness, not something never before seen, but there's few shows it can be compared with, so 8. Total is 7.13, and as I've had fun watching it, I'm giving it an 8.5. I can see its flaws, but I care more about how character dynamics are gonna change. I don't feel the smell of trash coming off this yet. This is a kudere light and I don't like kuderes, so be thankful I watched it, random person. This is the cute version of bullying, or bullying when it goes right. I don't fucking know. It's pretty much bullying, but the girl likes it, and the boy doesn't do it with a hurtful intention, so essentially Kashiwada doesn't usually show her emotions, she is inexpressive, and that bothers Ota. He will do anything he can to get a reaction out of her. Most of the things he does backfire onto him though. Writing. There's nothing that stands out especially, it plays like any other less popular romance or slice of life. For that it gets a 6. Soundtrack, cute and lighthearted, a bit too calm and boring in my opinion. 6. Animation, not that good. The movement is stiff and the sequence of frames is too sharp. I mean, there is a bigger gap between movement frames. 6. Stills have a very desaturated look, things lack detail, there's only a bit of shading, and the composition looks kinda lifeless. It fits well with a kids show, but I don't think this one is made for kids, and more so just has kids in it. In this sense, it fits the mood of the show. 5. Uniqueness, I guess it's a 7, it's tackling things differently compared to other similar shows, but it doesn't completely revolutionize in any way. I also wanted to make the total be a perfect 6, so there you go. From me it gets a 4.5, it had nothing that pulled me in. I've also watched these two that you see on screen, but I've only watched one episode each, so I don't believe I'm really qualified to rate them, but I can say a few things about them. Mechanical Mary is a show about this girl who acts like a robot maid for this other guy, the inheriting CEO of a company, and he's had assassination attempts on him. Basically, this girl is the only person he can trust, so he kinda starts developing feelings for her, and she also develops feelings for him because she's actually treated nice. The girl is also like a very good athlete, so she's a good bodyguard for him. It's okay in every regard, it's not very good at anything specifically. But it's not my cup of tea, so I decided I'd drop it. But next there is Fujimoto Tatsuki's works. I believe this was the adaptation of some of his one-shots that he's had, or maybe all of them, I don't know. If you don't know Fujimoto Tatsuki, basically he's the creator of Chainsaw Man, and he's pretty fucking weird. If you watch any of these, you'll understand that. I think, as I said, I only watched one. Since they're all different and I've only watched one, I can't exactly say how they're gonna be, but I expect that all of them are gonna have amazing animation, pretty fucking good writing. Like, coming off the first one, it's pretty cool, they're pretty well done, although very weird, and I don't really expect anything less from the other ones. So basically, weird premises with amazing execution, both writing-wise and direction-wise, and also animation-wise in our case. If you're not looking for something long, do check this out. So that's it. Now I'll have on screen some graphs showing averages and, you know, some statistics, comparing it to the previous season and all that. It seems like scores have gone down, mostly because I watched many shows and I didn't watch like My Hero Academia and Spy X Family. I don't really care though, but yeah. Like and subscribe if you'd like to see more of this. I don't know how many shows I'll continue watching from the ones I talked about. Probably not many because I have other things to deal with. And next season, whenever we'll get to that, I'll fucking watch fewer because I can't watch 16 anime anymore. I have exams and shit, gotta deal with that. So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you, maybe, in another one. Bye-bye.